How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants? It's good to be the king.
Woo! What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush, where we talk Giants football 50 weeks of the year. And we got a lot to talk about because it sucks to be a Giants fan. That's all I could say. Sucks to be a Giants fan. We are still a dumpster fire. We are still the doormats of the NFL trying to dig ourselves out. But we've got a general manager with his head up his ass, and we're not going very far very fast. So, because I'm just one man and one man's opinion does not make the entire story, I, of course, have a bunch of guys that you know and love that I'm going to bring in here, and we're all going to talk Giants football, and we're going to take your questions, we're going to take your comments, your complaints, your celebrations, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to bring in, of course, Spartan Mike, which me and Spartan are living high on the hog because right now, Michigan State basketball, gymnastics, and ice hockey are crushing it. So let's bring in the Spartan.
Craig, what is going on, man? I've not been on the show in several months. I've been running the draft show with me and Truth, but I haven't been on. You and I haven't been live together outside the tight end show this year.
No, and because in honor of that, Spartan, let's play your intro.
This is Sparta!
Yes, that's right, people. Welcome to the roast of Joe Shane, all right? We are not holding back tonight. Craig brought me on reasons.
No, I'm lighting it up. I am so tired of the excuses. I am so tired of people defending this absolute debauchery. So we're going to get into that. But of course, the man of reason is in the green room because, you know, everybody loves Chris because he's just chill guy. Doesn't want to make any. I want to get Chris mad. I'm gonna give you guys some stats that if this doesn't piss Chris off, then there's no pissing him off.
Chris is pretty jacked. I don't think we want to get him too pissed off.
No. Well, he is far away. He's
be a little careful here.
I'm in South Jersey. He's in North Jersey. Let's bring Chris in.
Hey, man.
Chris, I'm gonna play your intro because this is all about like basically your biceps.
No Coach Steve Austin, he is the man. Well, the cast of toughen up is over here giving themselves a beer bath.
Woo! What's up,
Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys? I have a long fuse, man, but I do blow up. I'm the guy where, you know, just it gets to that point where it explodes. It's like a superstorm when it gets to that point.
You save it for a rainy day. I think
ask my family.
Well, this is, you know what? This is the best way to start the show off because Lolo's here and Lolo's my guy. And there it is. Ba-boom! So yes, Lolo, you are 100% right. Oh, and then he doubles down and he says, "Crash."
Lolo's swinging for the fences. We haven't even presented a question and he's already.
I know. I love it. What's up, Lolo? JT's right in the house. I see Cole Sup and a bunch of you guys are pulling in now, so appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Guys, I'm gonna start in an odd place, and the only reason why is it's connected to Eli Manning. But I'm gonna start in an odd place because we won't spend too much time on it, but it revolves sacks, the new NFL. I don't know if you guys saw this, right? But it was a piece of content created by Chris Long. You guys remember Chris Long? Played for the Rams, played for the Eagles, defense end, pretty nice player.
Howie Long's son, right?
Is Chris Long Howie Long's
son?
I think
he's got two of them. He's got two. The other one's the offensive lineman who retired.
Oh, that's it. Right. Yes. Got two. Right. Yes. So it turns out, this is something to me that not only was I not aware of it, it was eye-opening. Okay. So Chris Long's telling a story on how he sacked Eli Manning, right? The the opportunity was created by one of his teammates to free him up, you know what I mean? And he made the sack. So it turns out that, that you have like an official stat person for every game, right? And they record tackles and stats, right? But the actual defensive lineman room, right, report to the statistician of the team who the sack goes to. So it turns out, like, if you've got good relationship with your guys, everybody's honest. But he goes on to tell his story on how he had a sack against Eli Manning, and while he was, I guess he was playing with Bennett. Was it Michael? Bennett? What was it? Michael Bennett, his brother,
Marcellus
Bennett. Yeah. So he's playing with him, and basically his teammate says, you better talk to Marcellus. He's turning in that sack. And Chris Long's like, what are you talking about? I sacked Eli. He didn't. He's like, he said he created it and he's making it. So basically, like, these guys are reporting to the statistician, like, hey, that was my sack. That was Chris Long's sack, and what Chris is talking about is after that sack of Eli Manning at the end of his career, he offered Bennett. He said, I'll pay you anything you want, $5,000, $10,000, anything you want for that sack, because that sack was belonging to a bigger incentive in his contract. So, if he had hit 10 sacks, right, he was going to get a bonus. So, like, he was saying that how, like, one sack could equal $1 million in bonus. So he was willing to give up $5,000 or $10,000 in cash for that sack. So he said sometimes in the game you'll lose a sack. Sometimes rarely you actually gain a sack. Somebody's usually taking it away from you, or there's a half a sack where they're splitting it. So, so you have to have a good defensive line room where you guys are honest with each other on who's claiming these sacks. Because again, they could turn into $1 million incentive. Want to get you guys' thoughts on that, because I was not aware that that's how it went. I did not think it was subjective, to who created the sack or who got the sack. I just thought the statistician made that choice. Here it is that the players are reporting to the statistician on who got that sack. So, Chris, what's your thought?
Seems a little odd, doesn't seem right. Baseball, right? When there's an error, nobody's reporting to say if it was an error and a hit. I mean, kind of similar, right? In a way, I don't know if it should be left up to the players. It should be, what about the Elias Bureau that keeps all those stats, right? Shouldn't it be something like that where they just take care of all that? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I thought it was a little bit odd, just because, again, it just feels like, and I don't mean to say this directed at you, Spartan, but it just feels like new math. You know what I mean? Like, if it just feels like, man, we'll just do anything we want to do. Anything that, like, worked, throw it out. Anything that's considered old school, throw it out. Like, everything has to be modernized. I get it. There is, you do want to get better as you go, but do we, like, is that just what we do now? Like, we just arbitrarily
how is there not some bureau that records the stats and says that's it? Now, what's interesting is I've never thought about this before, but what if there is actually a missed stat and it does lead to $1 million loss? And I just thought this through. Like, could that result in a lawsuit theoretically? Because think about it. Like, if you lost out on $1 million because of one sack and it was a missed stat, could someone actually go to court over this? This is a little off topic for a topic that's already off topic, but I'm just thinking this through.
Yeah.
But regardless, I just thought that stats are recorded by, whoever records them.
Yeah, NFL statistician. Right.
I was blown away. Chris Long talking about turning in sacks, after a game.
Huh.
You know what I mean? And that, he said, he said you have to have a good D line room, because the linebackers in the D line all have to have, like, each other's back. Mm-hmm. And he actually offered Bennett money for the sack. And I was just, again, blown away, like, where, like, records don't mean anything, stats don't mean anything. Like, they're all either, no pun intended, trumped up, trumped down. They're kind of arbitrary, right? So it's sometimes
it's like, hey, I get an extra $1 million for the sack. You didn't get it. So if you give it to me, I'll give you $400,000, and then you go from there. I mean, I could see it.
Like, again, he literally said, I offered him what he said. What do you want for the sack? So that sack on Eli Manning meant something to his contract So it grabbed my attention. I've never seen or heard anything like that before in my life. It's interesting, and especially that it was against Eli Manning. So Cold, let's see, I have no damn idea. I don't think he knows. Well, we're talking about stats, and Eli Manning getting sacked by Chris Long, talking about incentives, that kind of thing. So hope that answered your question. All right, let's get into the roast of Joe Shane, which will now be called just Clueless Joe, right? Clueless Joe Jackson, and then now there's Clueless Joe Shane. Lot of things, guys, going on in general. Want to get your opinion on everything. There's my hashtag right there. Clueless Joe.
I think it should be Desperate Joe. Isn't he more desperate? I know he's clueless at times, but this is desperate right now.
Well, yes, he's desperate.
Joe.
But because you're clueless, it leads to being desperate. And this will go back, and we'll get into it here. Chris, what I want, we were talking about off the air was, how many mistakes, I don't know if it's an ego thing or not, but we needed to make very, very, very bold moves to turn this around. And the question I presented to Spartan was, if I hired you 5 months ago and I said to you, hey, I need you to make a business, a company change. You got 5 months to turn this around to something dramatically different. And we don't really care how you do it. You got to get it done. A really good executive is going to get it done at all costs, right? And now, instead of being reactionary, you're very proactive, and you may, Chris, have to take some, look bad up front to do something in the long run that's good for your franchise. And when you analyze, in 5 months later, we are literally one of two franchises that is sitting around waiting for what's literally left. Literally. We're just sitting here waiting for the last option. How did this cat go 5 months? Now, you can tell me about he chased Stafford. The man gets paid $20 million plus. He gets paid like a player, Chris. I don't care if it was signing Russ last year, drafting McCarthy, drafting Penix, drafting Nix, giving up two ones and a 2 or whatever it took to get May, trade up to get Daniels. Some of this stuff I understand was not going to happen. I'm not that stupid or clueless. I do get that. But an executive at that level, and maybe that's what people don't understand, is there's never opportunities. You walk in where there's no opportunity, and really good executives, Chris, turn it around. It happens every day in business. Every single day, you turn nothing into something. Instead, what we have is waiting for what's left. How are we not destroying this guy, Chris? How are we not killing this guy?
You want to start a free agency. He's made two good picks. Javon Holland at safety. Debo.
That's not what we're talking about, though.
But you're looking at him as a whole, right? I'm
looking at I'm saying the body of work is 5 months ago, he chose to get rid of the quarterback.
Okay. Right.
So you knew you needed a quarterback in November. So you chased a little bit on Stafford, didn't work out. Now we're up against the draft, and we're literally just signing what's left. My question is that we didn't even have to be in this position if we drafted Penix or McCarthy or Nix, or if we had given again, Xavier McKinney, you were not going to re-sign him. You knew he was going to cost $15 million plus. Yes, you got a compensatory pick for it, right? We couldn't have packaged. We don't know. That's all I'm saying. We don't know, but we could have packaged up McKinney and offered that into a package for May. McCarthy.
Well, you would have had to sign him.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I'm not seeing Shane going to the wall. He had 5 months, and here we're just picking up.
Well, I think he's trying to go to the wall. It's just that he got leveraged by Stafford. They offered him more money than the Rams. Now Rodgers is playing Rodgers games. These guys are in self-preservation mode. They got to win 7-8 games or they're gone. It's just that it's gotten to plan D now with Winston. And Paul Schwartz came out today. The reason they went with Winston over Wilson is the locker room. They're not a fan maybe of Wilson. So I mean, you're with Winston now, but this is just an insurance policy. God, he may start or he may not, but they needed somebody in that quarterback room besides DeVito. And DeVito, by all accounts, will end up on the practice squad or probably get cut because they're going to draft the quarterback, you would think, unfortunately or fortunately, and then they're going to probably add another vet somewhere. But this is probably the best he could have. This is the best he could do right now.
Okay,
right now.
So Chris says it's the best he could do
at the quarterback position right now. This is the best he could do right now.
Okay, that's the key word right there. And,
right now.
And I don't see how people don't get what's happening here. Spartan, the key word to what Chris said is right now.
I think the best thing they could have done was just sign Russ. If Rodgers is playing games, get a quarterback that's a proven leader, a proven winner. And that's kind of the difference here. I don't get I feel like sometimes the Giants, especially Mara and Shane, they look for things that don't have to do with winning. Jameis is a better locker room presence. I didn't ask if he's better at riling up the troops. I asked who's the better freaking quarterback at the end of the day. Now, I've said this about Jameis. I do he's an explosive player. He can put up some big plays. However, his turnovers are so significant that it negates all of the good stuff that he does and causes the teams to lose. He commanded a 3-win Browns team last year. We won 3 games, all right? And he is a more explosive player. But you put up those kinds of interceptions, it's not going to work. We're going to lose. He's a losing quarterback. I do not get why the Giants didn't just say, screw it. Go with Russell Wilson. He is the better quarterback. He gives us the better chance to win. He's coming off a winning season. That's what I can't comprehend here. Russ wants to be here.
Okay.
I agree with you, Spartan. And I think when we go back and think about the identity of this team, it seems like they're trying to create an identity on defense, which I love. I agree with you, Spartan. If you're trying to create an identity on defense, Russell Wilson is the better choice because of the turnovers. It's going to keep games close. I think with Winston, it's a little bit all over the place. You don't know what you get. I think Russell's a little bit more closer to the vest. Those games are going to be closer. And in the fourth quarter, may be able to win. Whereas, hey, with Winston, fourth quarter, he may have thrown 3 interceptions and benched. So I agree with you there on the Wilson thing. If you're creating identity as team as defense, I think Wilson is probably the better choice.
Yeah. I think though, to back to what you said is right now, right? You're looking at what we have now because it's all we have, right? You have to look at the body of work. The guy, when he was in Buffalo, they had a playoff team with Tyrod Taylor, and they drafted Josh Allen, right? We went to the playoffs and kept Jones, and Jones got hurt, and they did nothing about it. And every year, there's no freaking plan, right? Because you could have had McCarthy, you could have had Nix, you could have had Penix. You didn't do it. Okay? I don't really. Again, right now, if you have Cousins and Carr, as Spartan said, Russ wanted to be here last year, and you let him walk.
He said stupid things, right? He just said, nah, you're not compete for the quarterback. Why wouldn't you just say yes? Because obviously he is. Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito both ended up playing first anyway. Just tell him, if Daniel Jones fails, which they did not feel comfortable with him going into the season, why wouldn't you just tell Russ, you are absolutely competing for the job?
Even to take it a step further, Spartan, if you got Winston now, he was a backup with Cleveland. Wouldn't you rather have Jameis Winston in 2024 over Drew Lock as your backup with Jones coming off an ACL?
1,000%.
Absolutely.
1,000%.
So that's a head scratcher there. Why Lock last year and why not Winston as the backup to Jones?
Well, Winston
already you won better. Why not Tyrod? You had a good quarterback that was good enough to at least bridge and then
agree.
We'll talk about Winston in a minute because the dude sucks. Let's not get into that yet. The point is that the pattern of behavior, dude. McCarthy was staring you in the face. Penix was staring you in the face. I don't care what anybody says about Bo Nix. I crapped all over Bo Nix. But at least you had a quarterback in the room. We are now only getting quarterbacks that need jobs. Desperate, need jobs. We are the New York Giants, and we don't have a general manager that says everything is checkers. There's no chess. There's no moves down the road. There's no trading out and trading back in. The Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Patriots traded out of the first round for something like 4 out of 6 years in a row. Okay. Again, yes, it's 7, 8 years ago, but there was a string of that. We're playing checkers. We're not playing chess. There's no movement, right? You're telling me like you didn't want Darnold. Look at, they went in and traded for Geno Smith. We are not doing anything. We're waiting till all the girls are on the floor dancing, and we're just looking what's left because Joe Shane is freaking clueless. Like in November.
Point, Craig, I mean, here's the one thing too. Like, look, and I wanted Russ because I thought that's a better bridge for the rookie because you can at least win in the meantime. Now, James is going to get thrown out there. We're probably going to start 0-4. There's going to be pressure to put the rookie out there. The rookie's going to go out there, get rattled by the New York media, have them all up in their head. They'll have a shaky first year. All the New York sports analysts that come on our show are all going to be harping on the quarterback in the offseason, and they're going to go into 2026, and it's not going to be a good head situation. So I'm going to say this. If, like, Jameis and the rookie quarterback, they could still get a rookie quarterback, but they also might not get a rookie quarterback. They have the third pick. There's only 2 guys that are really viable worth taking with the third pick. Dart, they might take Dart because they're going to be desperate at that point. And that's what I'm really worried about. They're going to start quarterbacks they normally wouldn't be comfortable with.
So, Spartan, you know what then? Trade back to 10. Trade back to 13 and take Dart. Collect picks, trade back. He's got no freaking plan. That's the whole
problem,
point.
though, right? He's got no plan. Like that. Well, why is it not obvious to sign Russ in these circumstances? And I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this right now. If the Giants go out there with Jameis and no rookie quarterback, and that's their quarterback room, and even if they kind of improve, they get to like 7-10, even 8-9, I want everybody fired because they have not earned the trust that next year when they do draft a quarterback or try to, 3 years of losing in a row is just absolutely unacceptable. And there's no way they can try to sell to Mara again that maybe they will be good and they will figure it out and they will get a plan. I don't want to hear anything about the strength of schedule next year. Teams have to deal with that all the time. I'm not dealing with that bull crap anymore. The Giants have to improve and find ways to win. If they don't do that without a rookie on the field, then I don't want to hear it. If they have a rookie out there, Shedeur Ward, different story. Completely different story. I could tolerate losing because I don't want a Jones situation like when, the coach Shermer got fired and now you have a year 2 QB on another GM. That's it. But if it's Jameis, no rookie QB, fire him after 7 wins. I don't care.
Chris, we've talked about this a couple times. I'm so fed up with the fan base talking about cheap. Just get me cheap. Just get me cheap. Just get me cheap. Like the fan base literally projects it's good if it's cheap. Like that's all they care about is salary cap, cheap. Oh, we can't spend too much. I mean, God, we are a horrible team and a horrible franchise. Sometimes you have to do things that are not fan base friendly.
I think what's happened is we've all been scorned by Gettleman and past regimes being so under the gun with the salary cap, having to fight back just to get the 20 or 15 million to spend.
I get it.
Everybody's got to understand next year off the books, I think it's going to be over 100 million the Giants will have. So I wouldn't, be so worrying about this, right now with the salary cap. I'm more worried about building the roster, right? They need 90 guys on the roster. So let's not get crazy if they add a few, receivers here, a few guys there that were kind of third on depth charts. They need 90 guys going into camp.
Yeah. I'm just talking about like when they got rid of Jones, they should have found a way that, and again, I don't want to hear, again, this is the thing, everyone, like, they want everything. They want their cake and eat it too, right? Like, what would it really take to get Cousins? What would it take to get Carr? Why didn't we sign Russ last year? Why did we not draft Bo Nix? Why did we not make a play for Penix?
Craig, for all we know, we don't know if those conversations hasn't been had with the Atlanta, with Cousins on a trade and all that. We just don't know if that's taken place.
No,
maybe it has.
We don't. The point still comes back to this guy can't get it done. Let's say he did. Let's say he had conversations with all of them, struck out. He's not the right executive for the job. Mm-hmm. That's my whole premise, is that let's give him the credit and say he's been working really hard. Well, that doesn't mean shit if you don't produce.
Right. There's no participation trophies at this level. He's getting $20 million, and that's his participation.
And that's why I'm so frustrated, because all three of us on the show have a job where you got to produce. There's nobody here on this show getting free handouts. This man is paying $20 million. It is generational money. It is life-changing money. And he is coming away with nothing. Why do we have Winston? Because he's what's left. Why is it Russ or Rodgers? Because they're what's left. I don't care. Honestly, I know this sounds crazy, and people, again, they're just stuck in some really weird world about salary cap stuff. Like, you would have had to probably, Cousins won 7 games. He won more games in 1 year than Jones did in 2, right? So, and he had a bad shoulder, so he didn't look great. I don't know if they made a call. I don't know what they would have had to offer. In 2023, you knew you weren't re-signing XMC in 2024, right? Maybe they should have, because they just went out and replaced him, right? They should have traded him then.
Same thing for Barkley. Yeah, right.
Yeah, these guys walk out, we get nothing. Is there a comp pick? Yes. But I mean, there's no chess. It's just checkers. So what I've done for you, gentlemen, is I wanted to really highlight how bad this guy is. So I'm going to give Spartan, I'm going to start with you. This is almost like a wheel I want to spin.
Okay.
Here's your choice. Here you choose. You can have 2002 draft. You could have 2003 draft. You could have 2002 free agents, or you could have 2023 free agents. Where do you go first?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. 2022 or 2020? You said 2000.
You have 2022 draft, 2023 draft, or 2022 free agents, or 2023 free agents. Where would you like to start?
Nasty 2023 draft, because I'll get so let's start with 2023 draft. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to tell you Joe Shane drafted in 2023. He drafted Owens. He drafted Riley. He drafted Hawkins out of a school that has had 1 draft pick in their history, which was also the Giants. Old Dominion. Okay. We figured we're the only dumb enough club to draft a guy out of Old Dominion. And he was a bust, and we went back to Old Dominion. Okay. Gray, we moved up. Ready for this? Maybe people don't know this. We moved up in the draft for Jalen Hyatt. Let that sink in. JMS and Banks. Spartan. Anyone on that list that I just mentioned to you, starter on another team, extremely valuable, productive. What is your thoughts about
let's start with Banks. I mean, he's an unreliable cornerback, and we keep talking about scheme and whatnot, but he also has a bad attitude. I mean, it just, the fact that he's taking plays off is ridiculous. And he got his secondary coach fired. I mean, that's just, so I mean, that's looking like a bust. So we're gonna move him over to CB2. I hope it works out. I hope they find some redemption in his career. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's reasonable things as to why he wouldn't try. I don't know. JMS, another guy where it's like, you start giving these grades out to players. Like, is there a hole on the starting lineup with the center position? I wouldn't call it a hole, but he's still a work in progress grade. Like, he's still developing. He's still like not come to fruition, right? And so that's frustrating, because you got to build your team through the bread and butter of the draft. And, we're not there yet with JMS. So it's still like more work to be done on his development, which sucks, because you figured a 25-year-old center would be, solid in the NFL by now. And then Hyatt, look, we know the problems. We were given the details behind the scenes, and that sucks. But I, and I don't know if there's no way to be able to tell that. Are we even allowed to say what the problem is behind the scenes on the show? Or I don't know, Craig, you tell me.
Speak your mind.
He doesn't know the playbook after 3 freaking years. He doesn't know the playbook. He can't get on the field because he doesn't understand the calls and the assignments. Is from what we heard, right from BT. Like that's what we heard. And I don't really know, even if he had the full, playbook, assignments, everything like that down, like how good of a wide receiver tree this dude has. I don't think it's that great. He has like one route.
Spartan, I saw the body language when there was a pass thrown out of bounds that he walked through the center of the field and walked through the defensive huddle. Like he didn't even run to get off the field. He ran a 9 route down the field. Locke got sacked. Neighbors went over to talk. It was during the Washington game. Neighbors is chilling on the sideline with Daniels, and Hyatt's like sauntering back to the field, like whatever. I mean, the dude's got a crappy attitude.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like, you trade up for that. Like, come on. And there were other good wide receivers that were available. I think Pickens, I think somebody brought it up. Like, there were other players, and like we keep passing over dudes that end up succeeding better than the Giants players. For what? Joey Porter, again, missed him. We'll just keep missing, and I'll give him last year's draft. I will.
Wait, listen, stick to your draft. Your draft is 2023. Is there any value in Owens, Riley, or Hawkins or Gray? Because I can't see it at all.
Look, I mean, I will say, we start getting late. Like, if we miss on a 6th round pick, I really don't care. But, the top 3, come on, you can't go like 0.5 for 3 or one. Even 1 of 3 is disappointing. But like, even if we had like a certified like starter with Banks that like, it's not a work in progress, like they're solid, I can live with it more so.
Here's the thing on your draft, right? Okay, so you want to cross off Owens, Riley, and Hawkins, not a problem. They keep trying to make Gray an NFL running back when they've got Turbo Miller on the sidelines. They won't even put him in the game. They scratch him, right?
That's the problem. The evaluations of these guys, and not having him as a punt returner 2 years ago in camp when he's never caught punts before. That's the stupid stuff that drives you crazy. The fans see it. What are they doing? And they don't bring a punt returner into camp, but they rather force him to be a punt returner. And we saw
moving the guards to tackles. I think Sean was bringing up on the show.
Those are the questionable roster moves that drive us nuts.
And that's why I lose faith on Dable too with this stuff.
So when I think about, again, I'm just taking, I gave you the, you picked, that was your pick. You picked the 2023 draft. That draft is almost a full bust. You have to hope that Banks can turn it around. Like you said, he got his DB coach fired. I do have some hope for JMS, right? Because he has been playing with a lot of different linemen, right? Next to him. But I mean, Hyatt, Gray, Hawkins, Riley, and Owens are they're at best, they're practice squad guys.
Yeah, and Owens is gone. He's not even on the roster.
Yep. Yeah, there are 3 players that Shane drafted that are no longer on the roster, which is Beavers, McKeithen, and Owens. But my point is, so you picked the 2003 draft. Literally, let's just say I give you JMS and Banks. Hyatt, Gray, Hawkins, Riley, Owens. No contribution to the team at all. All right? So right there, he went a whole year, and it's a 90% bust. There's your GM, folks. Oh, wait. There's more. Chris, you've got a choice now. You can do the 2002 draft, or you can choose 2022 free agents, or you can choose the 2023 free agents. Where would you like to go?
You said 2023 free agents?
You can do 23 free agents if you want.
Yeah, let's check that out.
All right, so Chris chooses for $100 2023 free agent signings. Well, it was James Crowder.
Mm-hmm. Never made it. Mm-hmm.
Nope. Amari Arawari.
Cornerback, yep.
Right, mm-hmm. DB. Nope. Tommy Sweeney. Nope.
Came over.
Then the big move of the year. What's the big move in the offseason?
Yeah, that was
trade for Waller.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How much due diligence did you put in on this cat that doesn't really want to play in Turtle all the time? Then it gets. Oh, go ahead, Chris. You got to jump in there.
No, and I was going to scale it back when you talked about Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder, who was a punt returner, they let him go, and he played in the playoff game this past year back with Washington. Stupid. You give up the punt returner, but yet you put Gray in there, who must have had about 3 or 4 fumbles. Just idiotic, dumb stuff like that.
Now this is where it gets just great. This is where the New York Giants spent their money in 2023. Crowder, Awari, Tommy Sweeney, tight end, never got on the field, blacked a couple times, right? Mm-hmm. Waller trade, total bust, guys hurt all the time. Mm-hmm. Then it's Bobby McClain, Paris Campbell, Jeff Smith, Leonard Johnson, and Wyatt Davis. You literally flushed every dollar that you had down the toilet. You didn't sign one impactful player there. Just $20 million this guy makes to have the right scouts, the right evaluators. It goes through his office. He's the general manager. He's in charge. And he signed Bobby McLean, Paris Campbell, who couldn't get on the field, Jeff Smith, Leonard Johnson, Wyatt Davis, traded for Waller, and then gave away the punt returner we could have used with Crowder, didn't make it. And then Tommy Sweeney and Amari Arawari.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Like,
terrible
so
names.
it's a joke, dude. Like, it's a joke. Does not anyone see it's just wasted money? None of these guys are on the team. None of them made an impact at all. But we're sitting here telling us God, Shane's good. I mean, so okay, that's the 2023 free agent class. It's still not over. The pain is still not over. Spartan, where do you want to go next? Your choice is 22 draft or the 22 free agents.
Let's go with 2022 draft. I like draft.
All right. Well, let's just start off with the first two that are no longer on the team. Okay?
You know what, I gotta say real quick, Craig, because this sucks. We get all jacked up about the draft because there's nothing else to really do in the offseason. So you just talk about, like, man, who could the guys be that make the Giants like the future team? Like, who could be a future Hall of Famer with the Giants? Who could be a baller for us? And then when you just get, like, the whole 2021 class is gone, right? And it's like, what a waste. What a waste of 4 months of, looking forward to it, looking forward to what the Giants do, and everyone's gone.
Yep. Beavers is gone. McKeithen is gone. DJ Davidson doesn't have any impact. Kenny has a pretty good run with McFadden, Belton, and Bellinger. We know McFadden's had a great career here. Belton doesn't get on the field as much as we'd like. I'd like to see him get more of a run. Bellinger, I like him, nice tight end, but he does have some competition there, right? Zudu's terrible, and then we get Wandale that actually has a ton of contribution, and then Neal and Tibbs. Like, it's still not this.
It's just, I mean, how do you have 2 first-round picks right there, 5 and 7? And I'm not going to call Tibbs a bust because, I mean, he's a good player, but like you expect your edge drafted at pick 5 to be elite, like Hutchinson was, right? And he's not. Unfortunately, he hasn't. He had a good year in 2020, 10.5 sacks, but he's not consistently balling out to the degree we want. And then with Evan Neal, I mean, it's been a train wreck the entire time, which really sucks. And then with Wandale, it's one of those things like, he's okay, but he's one of the players that I feel like fans overrate just because, like, we forgot what good wide receivers looks like. I don't think he's really, like, he's not a star. Again, it's another starless draft.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, again, out of that draft, McFadden's the best guy they drafted, right? I mean, they found a guy in a later round, but, like, you're stuck.
I'm gonna say Tibbs is better than him, but the value at their pick is McFadden.
I mean, Beavers was great in college, but didn't.
That one sucked. That one really sucked with his injury because I thought he was gonna be good.
Yeah. So again, I'm just making the point is, like, you're talking about numerous players. What has he done to bring to the Giants to resurrect this franchise?
I don't know, but you know what? I'm gonna fault the coaching staff on this because we've seen it. A lot of these guys leave us and go ball out elsewhere, and I am worried.
Spartan, conceptually, yes. None of these guys are balling out anywhere.
No. They. What I'm saying is they will when they leave us, right? So we'll find that out later. We'll find that out at a later date.
Oh, Chris, you're stuck with the last one, Chris.
Okay.
2022 free agents.
20,000. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're not going to be happy.
I got the list. Go ahead. Read it off. I know what they are.
Ricky Seals-Jones. That was a big. Oh, we got to have Ricky Seals-Jones, right? Mark Lewinsky was serviceable.
It's to a point, but he got benched halfway through, and it was a disappointment. We expected more. He played better with Indianapolis.
CJ Board. I mean, are you freaking? We spent money on these dudes.
I think he was. He came as a special teamer as well. But go ahead.
Jamil Douglas. Ooh, that's a guard just waiting to pop an all-pro season.
Yeah, depth, nothing. Yeah, nothing.
I mean, Greg, you're on a roll, baby. Come on.
Nothing. I know.
All right, Matt Breida. I thought Matt Breida was a nice signing because they needed that, right?
That was a nice, back and forth with Barkley. Yeah, that was a nice breather for him. Yeah, that worked out.
Justin Ellis.
Nothing.
How is the fan base not up in arms that this guy has wasted all this money on no players and the 2 best players we had left?
It's a poorly constructed roster.
Well, that's why last year we had a better roster. If you look at that roster compared to last year's, we had a much better roster. I think he does better with roster evaluation during the season. I'll give Shane credit. He's decent picking guys off practice squads and guys that are left on the street after September. He's found Fabian Rowe. He found Isaiah Hodgins. He found Pinnock. He's done well with those kind of things. But right now, free agency, so-so. But I think once things get rolling, he plucks them, off practice squads. Not a bad job. But right now,
Now, can I say something, Craig? I will say this, and when I look at the Giants starting lineup, I will say I don't think there's that. I mean, QB is a massive one. It implodes everything. We have a hole there. I actually don't think we have that many holes left in terms of we at least have guys at positions that can hold down the fort and execute. Micah McFadden's one of them. Good player. Is he going to be top 10 in his position? Probably not. I think we got a lot of those guys. But there's still 3 spots that I thought they would just address in the offseason. They got they instead of getting one solidified starter, they get 2 rotational pieces and say, there, we have competition. Guard. Van Roten is a fine, serviceable backup, or if somebody goes down first man up, I'm fine in that situation. You really didn't have that bad of a year. But why not try to upgrade? Why not try to get a dude that's going to ball out more consistently, so that if Andrew Thomas goes out,
and that comes full circle to what I said to you, Spartan, before, is why can he not get it done? You guys are giving him credit for some effort on Stafford and Rodgers and stuff. Okay, the effort's there. When you're good at your job, you get it done. He didn't get a great first tier 1 guard, Spartan. He didn't get it. He didn't do it. He didn't get the first. But
that one seemed like he gave up. That one didn't even say. He was just the market's too high. We'll just settle for Van Roten.
See, now you're talking my language. We didn't get, you know what I mean? How do we know? Yes, sometimes we're going to overpay these cats. I get it. And the New York Giants fan base just wants cheap. They don't give a shit. They don't want to win. They want cheap.
Right.
Okay.
And look, I do get it. We went through the Galladay contract. We went through the Soldier, where the Giants are paying so much money to these guys and not even getting serviceable quality out of them. They're getting, people complain about the Burns contract. It's not worth complaining about. He is a good player. But
yes.
What we worry about, and I get it to a degree, is when you sign a guy for $85 million like Soldier, and they're doing bench player level work. That sucks. But when it's the difference between an actual a $2 million guard or a $9 million a year guard, why are we counting pennies with millions in that degree?
And Darius just said that he doesn't want cheap. I want quality guards. Darius, go look at my timeline all day today. Everyone's we were going to overspend. It was too much. It's nonstop. It chokes me out all day long about it. I am saying that you don't let Russell Wilson out the door. You figure out a way to get that Zach Martin. You figure out a way to get Quentin Nelson. You figure out to get Trey. I'm just giving names. I don't mean literally. Some of these guys were not available. I'm just saying you let McLeod walk out for $1 million. You piss everybody off, right? Sometimes you gotta stop being reactionary. You know what I mean?
Right. Or why didn't they get who's that? DeMarcus Lawrence, the guy that went to Seattle. That was a dude that I was why not get him? But instead they get Chauncey Colson, and it's another and people are oh, I think Chauncey can actually be a starter. A lot of Cowboys fans are no, guys, we got another rotational piece. He's the Solari of detaches.
See, Spartan's on got it now. DeMarcus Lawrence owned the Giants, and all we want to do is say we didn't get him, so we must be washed up. Dude, stop it. All we did was get a guy that looks like Nacho. I mean, we didn't get any top tier guys. The guy,
and then I'll shut up, Craig, because I want to hear Chris talk. But this is the one thing too. It's of all the positions where they're we don't want to kill ourselves financially. Jameis, and listen, maybe they still get Russ. Let's see what happens. But if their plan is just Jameis, it's guys, why are you screwing around at the quarterback position?
Yep.
All right, Chris. Sorry, man. I've been hogging the mic.
No, it's nothing. No. What are we talking about? What do you want me to
I haven't been here in a while.
No, of course. No, and we don't know if a DeMarcus Lawrence would even play here, but the fact that we didn't hear his name out there, but
there it is. Vastly overpaid.
Great run stopper, and this is what we all stop. Well, we see sacks.
He hasn't had. So let's say we're paying him. What did he get over $20 million? DeMarcus Lawrence?
75. Let me see.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Well,
he
I
hasn't
think,
had
Chris,
double-digit sacks in 5 years, we would have given him a lot of shit for that.
I
If he
got
came here and got 6
the,
sacks.
the point is that we don't take any risks anymore, right? Like
3
we're
years,
not
40 million. I mean,
like so
12 a year. I mean, why?
That's not bad. I'll take a step like Azeez Ojulari. He got paid less than we even anticipated with the Eagles. So I mean, I would have rather brought him back.
Yep.
Because it's a no-brainer with
So
him with what he got paid.
So
even
and like
an
so
injury.
So that's my beef. Is I don't care what they had to do to get Cousins or Carr. I don't know why you're not signing Russ last year when he's literally in the building. Russ came to the
That would have
building.
been a $4 like that'd be like a $4 contract too. It's like,
it makes no sense. And you guys are all out there. The theme is the same. The theme is this: make it cheap. We're okay now. It's not. Like Bo Nix was looking you in the face. McCarthy was looking you in the face. Penix was looking you in the face.
Penix
and
is the one.
The egomaniac of Clueless Joe said, "I'm good." Like it doesn't make any sense.
no offense, man. I don't get this at all. And we're talking about a $12 million a year D tackle. We can't get him because we already have another guy that we're playing. It's a different position.
Yeah. Your point, Russell Wilson, is exactly on. Why are you having the quarterback Jones coming after this ACL surgery? Just assuming that he's ready to go, which he was. But why not have a competition? Let Wilson come out there. We don't know what Jones is going to look like in camp. So the fact that they did let him go and not let him compete for the job, I mean, shit. Dable knew this is probably going to be the last year anyway. Who cares? Let him compete.
That's why I'm saying
it's questionable stuff like that. I know, and we see it all the time with this roster management, with Azudu back at tackle. We saw it with the punt return team. Gano with the hamstring. These weird things, man. We're not having a backup kicker in the Jet game 2 years ago. This is the kind of weird. And Gano, who I like, they're going to save $3 million. If they, he's 38 years old and he's still on the roster. So I'm not sure what that's about either.
Let's get back to the quarterback. Like, let me ask you, I mean, just be honest. What do you, and maybe you don't care, but the what do you call it? The Raiders trade for Geno Smith, right? And it's just, it's a decision that they don't care about the results. They just want Geno Smith because they know there's going to be an anchor there. Solidify it, a guy that's going to work hard, come in every day, right? They know they're going to need a quarterback down the road. Geno Smith's got to be 36 years old, 34 years old.
Yeah.
But they did it. And
the connection with Pete Carroll too,
Yeah. Oh, well, I know. No, I know that's the reason why.
Right.
My point is that Pete's like this. I don't give a crap. I like Geno. Geno's a good guy. I'm like, so, and here's an underrated guy that's going to come in and solidify that position.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that. So I'm like, well, I'm sure they could have, if it was Howie Roseman would have figured out last year to sign Russ, or he would have went out this year in November and laid the groundwork for Cousins or Carr, or they would have, or if it was, one of these other guys that, had success, they would have made sure that Drake May was done, that Bo Nix was here, that Penix was done. It's maddening that we are one of two franchises literally hanging around to see what we get.
Mm-hmm.
And we're regressing. We literally went from 9 wins to 6 wins to 3 wins and ran it back, right? The real progress would have been if it's 3 wins, then 6, then 9, like the Lions were of the last few years. That's a rebuild, not what
Here we go. Spartan. This is the kind of stuff that I see all day. Like, Bo Nix ain't all that. He's 5 times better than what we have. We don't have a quarterback. I mean,
well, then here's the thing. I mean, if Shadur's available, like, because I think Ward's going 1, and right, so we get the 3, then let's take a freaking stab at Shadur. I know there's back and forth, but listen, he's a 10 times better prospect than Daniel Jones ever was. One dynamic quarterback, worth taking a shot, because I'm just tired. I don't want more like, well, we're just a little bit like worried about like this and this is not like technically perfect. So like, we're just going to get like somebody else instead of a quarterback. It's like, no, you got to take a stab at this point.
And to your point, Mike, this is the reason why everybody had to get fired at the end of the season, because now You bring Shador in, the games are close, whether you like Dable and Shane or not, and their drafts aren't good and the free agents aren't good. Now you're giving them extra years because now the conundrum, do you bring in the new regime with Shador or do you let them ride it out and see it for 2 more years? And that's the conundrum. A 5-win season, but the games are close. They may keep their jobs with the rookie quarterback.
Yes, it feels super transparent to me. It literally feels super transparent to me. It's why I don't say, Chris, this is why I understand why people don't see it. You are going to draft Sanders because it guarantees them more money in their pocket. They're going to get another year. It's not about the franchise making the franchise better. Literally right now, they're like, save their own ass. At all costs, get Sanders. But here's the thing, to the public, right? To the public, it looks like, man, they got their guy. They went up there and they got their guy, right?
I think if they got Stafford, they would have switched gears. The fact that they didn't get Stafford switches everything. This changes everything. The fact they didn't land Stafford.
And guys, I will say this too. Like if they miss out on Shador and Ward, don't be surprised if they go. You're gonna give me crap for this, but don't be surprised if they go for Dart as a career-saving move at 3. And the thing is, because everyone's like, well, you could just trade back and get Dart. Nobody really trades back for the quarterback. What if they trade back and don't get Dart? And somebody else jumps up and takes him. You can't take that risk. But now it comes to that question, like, would you have taken these quarterbacks in a year where you weren't on the hot seat? Or you only go for these guys now because you're on the hot seat? And that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, it's just nonsense.
I do think Shadur's good enough to take. I personally do, but that's not even worth the argument right now. The problem is how they feel. If they don't actually feel like Shadur's going to be a good quarterback, but they take him anyway, that's a problem.
I think K-Mac's missing the point. It's not about Bo Nix is better than Sanders. I think you guys are too literal, right? Like the point is that they take Sanders this year because it gets more money in Shane's and Dable's pocket because they get another year to groom a rookie quarterback. You were taking Nix last year, so you weren't in that scenario.
Well, do you have faith in Sean Payton? Because I don't, obviously we all do. Look what he's done in with Denver. But when Sean Payton was, if Dable had Nix, I don't know if that plays out the way it did. And even talking to Winston did a pretty good job under Sean Payton. His actually interceptions went down. Sean Payton does a hell of a job. So I don't even know if Nix does what he did, with the Giants.
It's true. I'm just saying he's talking about, it looks like he's trying to say comparing the talent pool. It's not about the talent. It's about them getting an extension for a year to groom another quarterback. And it's just self-sufficient. It's all about what gets this coach and this GM another year. I mean, to the public, it looks like, man, they really loved Sanders, man. Yay. But it selfishly, they just bought themselves a contract extension to groom the new quarterback. If that was the case, they could have gotten Nix or Penix last year and tried to make that work, but nope, that didn't happen. Didn't sign Russ. It's just bad, guys. It's bad. These guys are bums. And actually, I don't think Dave's is the bum, but I just think that Shane is over his head and he's not capable of playing chess. He plays checkers. Everything's reactionary, right? So, you sign Winston, right? We don't want Winston starting. You guys don't even look at Winston's game. He has not completed a season since 2019. If any other guy didn't play since 2019, you guys would be on fire. The guy's played 3 games, 5 games, 7 games. This year, he finally got himself 12 games. And I also don't know if that's the guy you want grooming your rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? I don't know. The guy doesn't
not want it to be Russ. That's what I don't understand. Yeah. Why would you not? And if they say money, it's like, well, good. Then that makes the next GM come in with a much better cap situation, and then he'll go from there because everybody should get fired at the end of the year if it's Jameis and no rookie quarterback.
Yep. It's just crazy, man. Like, and like we're, it's not about Winston. People are like, why don't you like Winston? I'm like, it's not about Winston. You know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with him. It has to do with, well, we needed a bigger, bolder move, and it had to be done earlier so we can get Abdul Carter. You guys cried and whined, including myself, by the way, that we passed on Micah Parsons. Mm-hmm. We should be drafting Abdul Carter. But we're going to get forced into picking Sanders because they couldn't do anything right. That's what we should be reminding ourselves. You know, we should be drafting Mason Graham, Abdul Carter. We should be drafting those guys. But we're going to draft Sanders. It's super transparent to me. They get an extra year. Selfishly, you guys are like blowing that off. Like, you draft Penix last year. You could have drafted McCarthy the year before. And here we are just scraping the bottom of the barrel. And everybody's like, it's a great deal. The guy throws 18 to 30 picks a year. He hasn't literally played a full season since 2019. If you were running my business and you brought me a 2019 solution in 2025, I'd fire you. So, you know, but guess what? Chris, what option did they have?
Yeah, it was him, Wilson, waiting, and still waiting on Rodgers. Let me ask you guys this. If the quarterback room is Winston, and let's say it is DeVito at 3, or even if they added some other, you know, not Taylor Heineke, but a guy like that also, and they have Sanders, right? They're carrying 3 quarterbacks. Does Sanders start the season if Winston is the vet?
Yes.
I think I would actually I'd put Winston out there first. I'm sorry. I do not want a rookie getting crushed by the media and all the bull crap that comes with it within the first few weeks of their career, because you look back at a lot of the greater quarterbacks in the last 25 years. Rodgers got to sit. Brady got to sit for his full year. Russ sat for a little bit. I think he came in halfway through the season. I want the quarterback to have the flexibility. I want the quarterback to really have the flexibility to not play at all that first year. And the quarterback that gives you the best chance to do that was Russell Wilson, not Jameis.
Yeah. Let me a surprising stat. 2021 under Sean Payton with New Orleans. Winston played 7 games. Drew Brees was hurt. He threw 14 touchdowns in 7 games. That's pretty damn good. 3 interceptions. So, and then he only played a handful of games after that, 3 and then 7 and 23. And we saw, and then he had just a ton last year, 12 interceptions in 7 games, or excuse me, in 12 games. So let's see Dable be the quarterback guru that everybody claims he is, or when he came over here. I don't want Winston to be neutered, but hey, Dable, do your thing. Like this is why you were brought in, to work with these quarterbacks, and this is the I did this with you did this with Josh Allen. We don't ask you to neuter Winston, but reel him in a bit, right? You see some of these interceptions, and they're double coverage, triple coverage. Like there's got to be some semblance of not having it to be Sandlot ball all the time either with Winston.
You said Sean Payton, and it was what, 2021?
That's when they were together, right?
It's 4 years ago, man. I just don't see him. I don't see him reining in anything.
Right.
The guy has not had ball security his entire career.
Right.
And you want him to revert back 5 years?
No. Yeah. Listen, I'm bringing up 2021, right? But that's pretty much other than last year, that was really the most games he's played. Before that,
which is even a bigger alarm,
right? It is an alarm, but it is an alarm. I'm just trying to say, if the guy played 7 games and threw 3 interceptions, I'm looking at Sean Payton as the coach, right? Sean Payton, one of the best offensive coaches that the NFL's had. Dable, that was all you heard about him and Josh Allen. And it's not. We believe it's not the case anyway, right? It's more Josh Allen than Dable. But you're the offensive coordinator. You're the head coach. Do something with Winston. Reel him in, right? That's all I'm saying. Just reel him in a bit. We don't need 3 interceptions every game if he's starting. But let's say he threw 30. Let's say
interceptions left. He threw 14 interceptions in 12 games last year.
It was terrible, and he got benched, of course.
Because he's terrible.
It's like one of those things.
I'd say he's good.
Can you? He's an older dog. He's 31 years old. It's like you teach him the new tricks. I don't know. It's like it's at that point. Like I don't really know how much he can affect his.
All
game.
I'm saying is, can we cut it down? That's all I'm saying. You're not going to change the guy, but can they at least work to cut it down?
Right. And somebody brought it up earlier, like, oh, Eli threw a lot of interceptions, but it's like, guys, you got to understand the difference between Eli Manning and Jameis Winston. First of all, Jameis still did put up more interceptions. Eli actually, he had you didn't know what you're getting game to game, because he would have games where he had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, and then a lot of games where it's like 3 interceptions. It wasn't as consistent as Jameis is, and Eli also did a better job of just overall, like even if it's tied at the end of the game, he was the difference maker as to why they won with 2-minute drills.
See, an interesting part about this whole thing is, and that's what makes you think Jameis will not start, I don't know how Dable mentally and physically is gonna be able to handle this. We saw week 1 against the Titans in 22 when Jones threw the red zone touchdown in the back of the end zone and he chewed him out, went absolutely crazy. How is Dable not going to, God forbid, have a heart attack? How is he not going to fall down and pass out on the sideline when Winston throws multiple games of 3 or 4 interceptions? Right? This is the mind-boggling part, like you said, Spartan, about bringing him on with these interceptions. I don't know how Dable handles that because that drives Dable absolutely insane.
Right. And that was actually an issue that we didn't really like. I mean, Jones was a horrible quarterback. Jones is way worse than Winston. It's not even a comparison. Jones sucks.
Right.
But we didn't really turn over the ball much with him, right? So in that, it's going to be like something new where the offense might get going more so, like guys are getting used. But if you're throwing if you're turning over the ball like this, you're putting your defense at a disadvantage, and we're going to lose anyway.
Winston may get benched, the second half of game 1. Dable will be like, I had it. I can't take it.
Guys, let's. There's 2 questions here. I think one is, if I had that, Chris, let me ask a question. Just description wise, not who, but what does a quarterback need to do in your estimation in Dable's offense? What are the characteristics that you need to run his offense?
You need to I would say RPO, run at it, be able to be athletic. I think you need to be an athletic type of quarterback to be able to get out of the pocket. Is that what you're asking? What type of quarterback?
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. You're painting the picture. Keep going.
I mean,
got to be more than athletic.
No, he's got to have the now we've seen with Jones, he's got to be able to read. I would think he's got to be able to go through his progressions and read. At a
what does that
pace.
look like, Chris? I don't even know what that. Yeah. I don't even know what that looks like anymore.
And throw it downfield, let it loose. He's got to be able to just let it go. In a Dable offense.
Guess what? None of those things that you just said describe Shedeur Sanders. He's not overly athletic. He's not an RPO guy. He does not run like Allen and I'm not defending Jones here. I'm saying, but he doesn't run like Jones or Allen. He's not, he's mobile, but I mean, he's not that. He's not this super athletic freak that, we think that this offense needs. And he doesn't throw the ball well downfield. He's a midfield passer in the NFL. I mean, he is not a gunslinger downfield like Ward is. Right? I mean, so you got neighbors running down the field. Like, I don't think Shedeur fits that at all. But here's the thing. So you
think Neighbors is going to be held up? You don't think he's going to, like we saw Jones? Yeah.
It's not his game. Regardless of him, quote unquote, rescuing Colorado and Jackson State. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it's not his game. You know what I mean? Like, Ward's a downfield guy. Winston definitely is a downfield guy. But that's not Sanders.
But Craig, I gotta ask though, like if we're complaining about the Giants not taking these shots at these like first round talent quarterbacks, then why wouldn't you want to at least take a shot at Sanders if available at this point?
I'm not saying either. I'm just saying, like, I'm so tired of hearing about Dave's system, and that guy doesn't run Dave's system. Like, Dave, like Sean tried to tell me today that it's about short passes and accuracy. And I'm like, what are we talking about? It's supposed to be like RPO and downfield and athletic. Like, I mean, it's
that's like what I thought Dable's system is, right?
Look, yeah. I mean, look, hopefully, I hope Dable would get this quarterback and work to the abilities of the quarterback to some degree.
Like Ward is a guy to me that fits that system better. Guy can go downfield. Guy can move.
Big guy can take hits too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Shedeur, though, he had the most accuracy of all the wide receiver routes. He was the best prospect, and the only person of last year's class that actually matched it with the wide receiver, the route tree accuracy was actually Jaden Daniels. So, look, I have faith. I totally sit here and think, I complained the Giants didn't get Penix last year, and I freaking love that dude. Now's the time to do it. If Shadeur's there, you get him, and you go from there. It's not worth passing on anymore. You need a young quarterback to develop, because if they don't get one now anyway, then they're going to get fired because they're going to lose next year. So go ahead and take a stab. It'll be 2 years out of our lives. If it doesn't work, and we just move on.
They're getting an extension, Spartan. If they draft Sanders, they're getting an extension.
Even if they win 3 games, let's say they go 3-14, you think they still keep their jobs?
I'll tell you what, if it's 3-13 and like things look like a complete disaster,
PR, man,
problems, mental, then yes, I could imagine it happening. But like to the point where they flush it all down the toilet. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, I don't care who they just drafted a quarterback. Next administration, do whatever you want. What I don't want is like Mayor being like, oh, somebody's got to save or revive Ward's career or something like that. Like, screw that.
A lot of the fan base does not want Sanders for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I don't think he fits the offense. I think Sanders would, but I do think Sanders would start day one. And because, you know, if you're a Sanders guy, you're going to shove it down everyone's throat that he's made for this. He's been famous since he's been, you know, a kid, and he's great under the lights. And like, you know, so if you're a Sanders fan, if you're not a Sanders fan, you know, you're hoping that like somehow you can find a way to trade up for Ward, right? Or if you're a Dart fan, you're hoping you could trade back to get Dart. But as you said, Spartan, that's not a very, you know, I don't want to say popular move, but that normally doesn't happen, right?
If you legit like the quarterback and just because it's like, oh, you can get him at 20, 12, like 12, you know, what if somebody traded back last year to get Bo Nix at 20? They wouldn't have gotten him, right? So if you do actually like Dart, you have to get him. My concern is they don't actually like Dart and they just get him at 3 because like,
I mean, I think they like Dart, but he's going to need to sit for a year. Right. I mean, like, listen, I told you, I mean, evaluation wise, you know, Sanders, if Sanders is kind of like a Haskins kind of guy or a Stroud kind of guy, Dart is more of like a Baker Mayfield kind of guy, but he's got to sit. So that means Winston's your guy. And Winston becomes your guy. Again, it kind of just comes again back to Shane, just not like, again, letting Russ walk out last year was just dumb.
And I will say this too, like I give the rookie pass for like any of the top quarterbacks, but if they take like a second round flyer on Milroe and they suck next year, like they don't get the bonus year because the odds of that dude working out was pretty low to begin with, you know. So like that doesn't count in my books. Like, oh, we got the second round rookie or a third round and Curtis Rourke. No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. They don't get the well, we got to see it through pass in that situation.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I'd say, you know, they keep saying, you know, yesterday that the Giants aren't done adding a quarterback. This is, you know, well, Rodgers, I think, is going to go to Pittsburgh. I think I can't see him come to the Giants. Do you guys feel like a trade is still possible? And I'm throwing a couple names out, and I don't even know how I feel about it. I'm just for the hell of it.
A trade in the quarterback world?
Yeah, in the quarterback world, whether it be like a Bryce Young.
You think they would get rid of Bryce Young
or an AR from? I don't know. I you know, Panthers are a disaster too. No, I don't. I'm not, Anthony Richardson is another name. I'm just throwing names out just because they're limited in their options to add a real bona fide starter with what's left.
That was why I was painting the picture. Is that ship seems to have sailed?
Yeah.
You know,
because trade would really be the only way to add a bona fide starter at this point.
Yeah, and that's why, again, I keep coming back to, like, you know, the fan base is just giving Shane a pass. He's had 5 quarterbacks staring him in the face, and he had to get it done. Again, back to the business, guys. Either you make your own opportunities and you get them done, or you don't, right? And Shane doesn't have the ability. Look, the Burns trade, you're telling me that the New York Giants get Burns if his best friend isn't the GM of Carolina?
Yeah, Dan Morgan. Well, that's what intrigues me about the Bryce Young thing too, being that Panthers are in a bit.
Morgan can't be that dumb just to peddle off all his trash. And I don't know. I shouldn't even call that because Bryce Young had a nice bounce back.
He did. He did. Yeah, he did.
You know, but
Craig, I got to be. I do have to roll here in a little bit. If there's any final topics to get onto.
Yeah. Well, we were talking, you know, again, you know, about Winston Steele, 2 years, backup quarterback, you know, right now, you know, Russ and Rodgers are still out there, right? That we talked about. Shane definitely is not, I don't think is pulling his weight. Question is what Chris just mentioned, Spartan, is does Russ feel slighted that, you know, we're sitting around waiting for him like this? Like, does he even wanna?
Yeah, I'd be a little slighted. I just feel like because the drop off between Russ and Rodgers are in a class of their own. The drop off past those guys is enormous. So like, why are the Giants like, well, let's just see what falls into place here. Like, just sign Russ and call it.
Yeah. Draft day trade, Chris. see anything like that happening?
You mean for a vet? You mean a current and a current
like you were
quarterback?
just saying a
Yeah.
trade? Yeah. Like,
No, I don't. I think if it gets to draft day, if there is going to be a trade, it's going to be to move up, unfortunately, to get who they want. I mean, listen, I want Abdul Carter, and he might not be there anyway. But I think they're going to do what they can to get one of these quarterbacks, and it's going to buy them more time to see it through.
Spartan, what's the possibilities of actually getting Ward?
Ward, it's going to be really tough. I mean, unless the Titans are bluffing. I mean, again, we talk about being in the spot to be able to get the quarterback. Titans are probably sitting there, and it's like, well, I mean, if they like him, they really do truly like Ward, and why wouldn't you? Then it's like, why waste this opportunity to get him?
He's a clear number one. I mean, so the question is, he's a much better quarterback than Sanders. What do you do? What would it take to get him?
Well, listen, I mean, the Giants have to, I think, and I never advocate for Maris stepping in, but, if it becomes like a ridiculous trade that the Giants otherwise wouldn't feel comfortable, because think about it, Shane will probably lose it. Like, Shane might lose his job regardless if he gets the quarterback, right? So he's like, yeah, 3 picks, screw it. I might not be here in a couple of years. So 3 firsts. For everyone saying, it might just cost a third because the Titans, like, no, they're gonna force the Giants to give up next year's first and definitely more. That's not happening. Titans are going to hold it ransom if they can.
Yeah, because they're rolling in with Will Levis for the season. I mean, that's a play. No,
they got to win too.
Yeah, they got to.
Giants, you can't have a crappy quarterback.
Yeah, Callahan's on his second year, and he was almost going to get fired last year. And they're right now they have Levis, so that could be a place where Wilson ends up. But that won't change the fact they probably need somebody, as well.
But I say this too: what's going to stop the Browns from getting a top quarterback available too?
Right.
I mean, they're like, people are like, oh, we'll pass on Sanders. I'm like, I don't know about that. They need a cheap quarterback.
That's a good segue, because what I was going to ask you, Chris, is so they traded for Kenny Pickett. You knew Kenny Pickett wanted another chance to start somewhere. He went to the Eagles just so he had a job. The Cleveland trades for him, keeps him on the East Coast. He's an East Coast kid, and he goes to Cleveland. Do you think part of his deal was that he was the starter? Because, like, again, if they draft Sanders, I would think that Sanders would still start over Kenny Pickett, or Pickett starts for a couple games. I don't know. Like, what's your thought? Like, if you just traded and you gave up assets to trade for Kenny Pickett, do you also bring in a quarterback that high, even though you just traded for a guy?
I think what Pickett proved last year in a couple of those games with the Eagles, that he could actually hold down a starting job for a while. He played pretty well, but I don't think you guarantee him anything. He's able to compete in training camp, and the fact that he's been in the league a few years, he knows how to run an offense at an NFL level. So I would think even if they drafted their quarterback, he's gonna maybe get a chance to compete just to actually start things out opening day.
But why would the Browns because think about it, the Giants did the same thing, trade for Pickett. Like, we would be damned if we really thought we were going in and he was going to be the starting quarterback, right? Like, why would the Browns do that? They're all on the hot seat too.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're going to.
Interesting.
True. It's like Will Levis, Pickett. It's kind of in the same situation, right?
The hard thing too, guys, is that like Chris just said, we all probably want Abdul Carter. You just, because you signed Winston, like, you have a quarterback on the roster, but you don't have the right quarterback on the roster. So if you choose Abdul Carter and Winston's your starter, your defense is on the field the whole time anyway. Like you just, then you start asking yourself, should you have just kept Locke, right? Yeah. So to go, it's just, it becomes Shane starts to look really dopey. You know what I mean? Because you really want Abdul Carter, but I don't know how you get him, because your starting quarterback can't be Jameis Winston. You again, the guy's not completed a season since 2019, gentlemen. I mean,
he's just not good. He's not good enough to win.
Yep.
He puts up big numbers, but the interceptions kills it. It literally kills the entire chance of winning any of these games.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the hard part. That's why, Dart wouldn't start anyway. And as much as I might be a Dart guy and a Ward guy, it's really like, what are you willing to move up for Ward? That's why I wish Shane hadn't put the team in this position. The move was Penix signing Russ, McCarthy 2 years ago. Even Bo Nix to give you the flexibility to draft Abdul Carter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I will mention this that this is our I think it's our fourth or our fifth. I'd have to look it up. Annual draft show. What we do is it's like customer appreciation night, everybody. For most of you OGs, like, Cold and Mark B and Mark Thompson, you guys know about this already. I'll send you an invite and see what day you can do. And we put on over Thursday, Friday. I don't think we'll do Saturday, but for Thursday and Friday, we do 2 shows back to back. They're like 6-hour shows. Everybody gets, 15, 20 minutes to hang out with the crew and basically, talk about, what you like and what you don't. Definitely the old guys aren't coming. Those, like Cold's not going to come. He's going to boycott it. So, I'll send invites out to anybody that wants to come on and hang out with us, talk about what's happening. I also will be, letting guys know. I'll probably put it on Instagram first. I got a really cool interview coming hang on, let me look at my calendar. In 2 weeks, I've got a pretty big interview coming up, and I'll put a video out on Instagram for that, so you guys will want to tune in there. And again, every one of our guys, Alex, which will be back, he's been doing a lot of dad duty with his wife working at nighttime. Spartan, Chris, Sean, Truth. They all basically pick between 10 and 15 guys to come on the show. So we love having you guys. Try to do something different. Just make it a little bit more fun. What's this say? What's Kevin saying? Some cryptic thing here about my watch. Wear your big watch, Craig. Flash it for us when we land Shador. Am I missing something there about my watch? What am I missing? I don't get it. No, dude. Put it this way: Sanders gonna get drafted. We won't even talk about. We won't even talk about it. He's gonna be a Giant. So we're gonna root for him because he's a Giant.
Yep.
Craig, for your birthday, I'm getting you a Shador Sanders Giants throwback with the Montreal Canadiens uniform.
Dude, that would be super cool because we can burn them, before the game.
Well, that's not very nice.
Now, I do want to announce this. I am in the process of doing this for the website. In case you guys don't know, nygiantsrush.com. There's plenty of interviews up there, content up there, stories, all kind of good stuff up there. There's a ton of photos in there on the photo page. Our fantasy football stuff is going to be there because Spartan, of course, runs our fantasy football. But this is going to be fun. I'm trying to figure out how to work it out. We're going to have some type of poll or bet how many planes fly over MetLife Stadium this year. So you'll have an opportunity to win a pretty cool prize pack, like maybe like an autograph helmet or something like that. So once I get that roll, start thinking about it now. How many flyovers are going to be? Because, it got bad. And I think what did we have, Chris? How many did we have? 4?
I think it might've been, was it 3? 3. And then, the wind, I think they canceled one. One was supposed to fly over, and then it came out that they couldn't fly. It was too windy.
I'm thinking that they're going to fly over pretty much every game. Because the Giants aren't winning any games.
As soon as they're 0-1, they might let it wait to that first game, see what happens.
Spartan, can we go 0-17 this year?
Yeah, we can go 0-17. I never doubt anything anymore.
That schedule.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
I expect a lot of 1:00 games though, Craig.
I'm not. If they draft, I already said if they signed Jameis Winston, I was selling my ticket. So I'm selling my ticket. So.
I mean, if they go 0-17, I mean, there's got to be a coup at the Timex Center the next morning. I mean, the mayor is just. I mean, we talk about Shane, but it's like, mayor is 0-2 in GM hires now. So
Dable will be gone mid-season if that happens. If they God forbid they're 0-7, he's going to get fired right in the middle of it.
You said God forbid, like they're going 0-7, dude. Like you don't think that you think they're going to win a game?
Feel it in the air, Craig. Right. Sanders gets taken by the Browns. We don't get one. So we're like, oh, all right, Jameis it is. And then 0-17.
And you know what? One game he's going to throw for 500 yards. And then the next week he's throwing 6 interceptions in a game.
Oh, no, he's going to do it all in 1 week. It's going to be the same game.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to lose. because we still have Shane Bowen to lead us to being the 26th ranked defense and the 31st ranked offense, and we're going to go 0-17, and Mara's going to make another boneheaded hire at the end of it. It's great. It's great.
No identity defense with Shane Bowen.
Yes.
There's no identity with that guy.
Absolutely, the misplaced linebacker wonder.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys hanging out. We're gonna wrap this up. You guys, JT says y'all tripping. JT, JT, I'm all ears, man. If you think, here's the only good thing about JT.
Damn it, JT, the show was just about to end. Yeah,
it was. But I will say this: the New York Giants lost 4, potentially 5 games last year because of bad quarterback play. You're always in the game when you got guys like Neighbors and Tracy, right? I mean, those guys were really major contributors. The offensive line should be better. I don't know how much better, but the line should be better. You lost a bunch of games because the quarterback room was so bad. But I don't know. The Washington's pulled so far ahead of you. The Eagles have pulled so far ahead of you. The schedule's really rough. You're going to have some rookie QB in there pretending he knows what he's doing. Or Jameis just going, well, man, I'm letting this sucker rip. And DBs will be feasting on Winston. There's DBs in the NFL right now going like this.
Yeah, how are we going to – by the way, our turnover margin is going to be horrendous next year. We got, 2 picks last year on defense, and we're about to throw for 30. Guys, that's a bloodbath of a 0-17 schedule, man.
Yeah.
We're dead.
Yeah. Sanders won't even get on the field because we'll be on defense the whole time.
Right.
But I will say the funniest thing I heard, Spartan, was that we should draft Travis Hunter so he can tackle the guy who picks off Jameis Winston all day.
Whoever did that, they
very creative. Oh yeah,
that was great.
Yeah. I actually put on there. It was the quote of the day, as I was like, "Wait a minute! You just said the Giants should draft Travis Hunter, so when Winston throws 9 picks a game, somebody can tackle him."
He'll never have to get off the field for punts or kicks. He'll just keep staying on there. There will be no punting or kicking.
No, man, it's freaking genius, man. It's freaking genius. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Jameis Winston sucks just like Drew Lock sucks. We are going to draft Sanders. And then what? I'm just hoping something crazy happens on draft day so we can have some fun. And again, we'll be reaching out to you guys shortly, inviting you guys to the draft show. I'll slot you guys in for your 15 minutes of time. Spartans needs to send me a list of his top guys. Chris, you need to send me a list of your top guys.
And guys, I will be at the draft again. I'll be live from the draft. So
okay, Spartans will be live at the draft, which I've been telling myself I want to go, especially they've been in the north.
They've been in the Midwest for the last few years, and they're actually going to be out here for the next couple too.
Yeah, I was going to say one of these times we should just go.
I've been getting fed.
That's awesome because again, he hangs out. He's all super cool, Spartan. Because he's famous and he hangs out with LPG and they get on TV. But hey, we love him for it, man. What we love about my Rush.
Right, I got on HBO Hard Knocks. I got the Skull logo. I got it on ESPN. I'm hoping
this year I got to get you a new one with the I got to get you a new one with the Lady Liberty head.
Oh yeah, real talk. Let's make sure we do that before the draft because it takes a minute to ship.
Yeah, so, listen, and that was a T-shirt. If you want to we get you a hoodie.
Hoodie would be great.
Yeah, we got to work on that. All right, guys. Look, we're gonna wrap it up. Nothing more to say. You guys love Winston. I don't know if the rest of the country does. You guys love Sanders. I don't know if the rest of the country does. I'm praying to the football gods. It's Abdul Carter or Cam Ward, right? Spartan, who's your wish? Who do you want?
I want Shadur.
You want Shadur in the first round? Over Ward?
Over Ward. No. If literally they have the chance at either, I mean, go for. I'm split. Fuck it. I usually don't curse on the show. Ooh. But yeah, literally either.
Chris, who's your guy?
Even though the quarterback situation, I want Abdul Carter, an impact player, man. We passed on Parsons. Give me Abdul Carter.
I know. That dude's gonna go to someone's gonna trade up for that dude too. Yeah. So all right. Well, look, we'll see you guys. Spartan, is there a Wednesday show?
There will be a Wednesday show.
There is a Wednesday show for Rush Hour on Wednesday.
As long as I don't get kicked off for using one of the banned words on your program, of course, Craig.
Yeah. Spartan's always getting me in trouble because he's always using movie clips he shouldn't be, saying words he shouldn't be. He's a rebel. He's a complete rebel, right? We will see you guys next week. Hopefully you guys come to light and see that Shane is clueless. Please use the hash mark Clueless Joe. And do me a favor. I need you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends. It helps us out do this show. So if you guys can be so kind to get your buds out there to share it, because you're watching the show. You guys have been watching the show more now than ever, which is super cool. But I just need some more subs to do some other cool stuff. Big announcement coming up. We have a player interview coming up in 2 weeks. You guys are going to love that. And we're out. Peace. Boom. Winston sucks.